Greetings and salutations, all. I.S. Anderson here once again, and today I am doing my book discussion of A Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin. Now, as always, this is a book discussion. There will be spoilers. I will be talking very in-depth about certain points of the stuff, and I will be giving stuff away. And if you're somebody who only watches the show, then I'll most likely be giving stuff away from that too. So, this isn't a review, it's a discussion. I decided not to do a review this time because it's the fourth in a series, so I mean, if you're a follower of the series, you're gonna read it, and if you're not, then this is the fourth one, and there's no point in doing a review, give you an idea of what it's about, because you don't follow the series, so you're not going to read it. So yes, today is just going to be, so I'm just going to do a book discussion on Feast for Crows, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Feast for Crows by George R. R. Martin. Some of you may have noticed it did take me a while to finish this book. It always takes me a while to get through these books because, I've said this before, but George R. R. Martin's style, it's not my most favorite style. I mean, he tends to drone on, and you do learn a lot about the past, but he starts going on and on about stuff that just ends up being irrelevant very soon, and that's what I don't particularly like about it. But it is a very interesting story, obviously, and so I keep following it. So let's see here. Yeah, the main gripe that I hear about this story, or the main reason why I think a lot of people are turned off by this story, this tends to be a lot of people's least favorite story in the series, and I think that's mostly because there's no Tyrion, there's no Jon Snow, and there's no Daenerys. And it focuses basically only what goes on in King's Landing, and it also follows Sam and Brienne during their adventures. Sam, he has to take Gilly and Master Aemon to Old Town, or small, I forget what the town's called, Old Town, I think, so he can become a maester. And Aemon dies on the way. But that's what happens in the series. People get killed and die. Let's see, and it's interesting because even though Daenerys was not in this story, she was mentioned a lot. You could still feel her presence. I mean, the very first chapter in the prologue, there's these guys talking about, there's dragons over in the east, and there's Daenerys Stormborn. She's going to come over here and conquer everything. And that was cool, but the main thing that I really noticed was, first of all, there was Master Aemon right before he died. He goes on about a prophecy about that kind of ties into with the prophecy that Melisandre kept saying Stannis was a part of. Thinks she's the reincarnation of this warrior with a flaming sword who's going to kill all the White Walkers or something like that. And Aemon said, she misread it. It's Daenerys who's going to be this person, this hero who's going to come, and who was born with salt and sand, something like that. And Daenerys, she was born during the middle of a storm. So there is that, and she does seem like be in the perfect place to, I mean, let's face it, dragons against White Walkers. White Walkers wouldn't do so good against dragons, would they? Especially since they're susceptible to fire, and what do dragons breed? So yeah, I think 3 dragons against an army of White Walkers is going to do okay. And also this ties into the next thing I'd like to get into, Cersei. Now Cersei, they go into her past about this lady that she met, Maggie the Frog, who was basically a psychic, if you will, and she told Cersei that no, she wasn't going to marry a prince, she was going to marry a king, and that she was going to have 3 children, and they were all going to have crowns of gold and shrouds of gold, meaning they were going to outlive her, or she was going to outlive all 3 of them. They were going to die before she does. And it also says that a younger, more beautiful queen was going to take everything away from her. Now, if you think about it, that's a pretty easy prediction to make, because, I mean, it's just like, that's pretty much happens to all queens. Pretty much, when you're a queen, eventually, a new king takes over, and his wife becomes the queen, and certainly younger and more beautiful, and that's that's open to interpretation, I guess. Uh, as far as the two actresses on the show, I mean, if you want to say between Emilia Clarke and Lena Headey, which one's more attractive, that's just a matter of opinion. But in the story, they do say Cersei, they do say that Cersei is comely, aka beautiful, but they also talk a lot about Daenerys' beauty, calling her the Silver Queen and all that stuff. So there is that. Yes, there is that. Daenerys taking over. She's prophesied to take over. But the thing is, Daenerys, or Cersei, at the end of the story, she already has kind of lost. She already has kind of lost her way. She's ended up in a dungeon. So, and we're gonna have to be interesting to see how far we get in Dance with Dragons before we find out really what happens with her and whether or not Jaime's gonna come back and be her champion, fight for her with her trial by combat. Now, as far as Jaime goes, I mean, I liked his character development. It looks like he is becoming a leader. He is becoming, more stern. He's becoming a politician, is what he's doing, which he really wasn't before. He was just a Kingsguard and a smartass, and now he's becoming more of a politician. But if you really pay close attention, he is kind of turning into his father. I mean, there was this whole. Now, this is part of the book, not part of the show. In the book, Rob's queen Jane is still alive, and Jaime meets her, and he finds out. He goes, "Is she pregnant? Is she pregnant?" Because he doesn't want her son coming out. The king's son, Lord Stark had a son, and the North will rally behind him apparently. And Jaime was ready to kill her. Yeah. So yeah, Jaime, he's kind of turning into his father, and which is not a good thing. I mean, say what you want, but I mean, Tywin, I mean, he was a good leader. I mean, he did get things done. You can't really argue with that. But I mean, he's just a total ass and not somebody that you really want to aspire to be. Okay, so where is Tyrion, by the way? Yeah, he's not. The only mention he gets in this book is Cersei constantly bringing people in who say they've killed him, and they keep bringing her the wrong head, and they're just like, "Oh, it was a dwarf." I'm like, "Well, it wasn't Tyrion, now was it?" And much to their demise, and so you really wonder where he was going. Is he going to go to the wall, or is he going to go across the narrow sea to the east? Maybe he's going to end up with Daenerys. He is another outcast, so that would make sense. And, he's not really going to be safe on the wall because I think he knows Cersei will try to get him there. But we'll find out about him. I didn't particularly care about the chapters. Well, I'm not going to say I did care about the chapters about Sansa. It was interesting to see her story, and it is good to see her finally starting to. I mean, she's no longer this little waif who's. I mean, you can't blame her for being, real scared and protective and huddled into a corner just trying to survive. But now she's learning how to play the game, and she's learning how to, manipulate the system. Of course, she's learning from Peter Baelish, though, which in a way is good because he does know how to play the game a hell of a lot better than her father did, actually. And now he's pretending to be her father, and very creepily, I might add. Sure, want to give your father a better kiss than that? And I don't like how her chapters are now giving her new name, Eleni. I can't pronounce it, but yeah, I have to keep reminding myself. Yes, it's still Sansa. It's still Sansa, and I really wish at least the chapters would still say Sansa, but they don't anymore. But it is interesting to see how her story plays out and see if she will actually marry this other guy, and apparently, but Tyrion has to die first in order for that to happen. But anyway, okay, so Arya. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Arya. I don't hate her per se, but I'm not all gaga like most people are about Arya. Yeah, her story was interesting there for a while. I mean, she swears revenge on these people. Now she joins this order. You have to give up being Arya. You're nobody now, and yeah, you have to give up on wanting to kill these people. And then she kills a deserter from the Night Watch, and so they render her blind, and that's where her story ends in this book. Okay. So I don't know how much of an impact she's going to have in the future. We know that she can sort of do the brand thing, and we know that she can see through the eyes of her wolf, who is still out there running wild. You know, pretty much seems as though her Nymeria, her wolf, took over a wolf pack, which makes sense because Nymeria is a dire wolf, and apparently dire wolves are twice the size of normal wolves. So of course they're gonna let the dire wolf be the alpha. And we know that Arya does see through her eyes. So, yeah, be interesting to see if. Oh, wait a minute. So now she's. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, look, I just had an epiphany. Yeah, so she's blind now, but she could probably still see through the eyes of her wolf. Hmm. But anyway, you saw it here, folks. I.S. Anderson has an epiphany on camera. Another aspect of the story I didn't really care for. Why are we seeing what's going on in the Iron Islands? I mean, okay, yeah, they're going to try and take advantage of the situation now that everybody else is pretty much, exhausted each other, killing each other, and now the Ironborn, they're going to try and, we do not sow, we do not reap. We just, basically leech off of other people, conquer them, leech off of them. And okay, and yeah, we saw a little bit of what they do, but to be honest, I pretty much just skipped their chapters, and I really don't care about what happens with them. The Ironborn, they're cannon fodder as far as I'm concerned. They're gonna get killed, and I'm not gonna lose any sleep over that. Yeah, I didn't care about Dorne so much either. I mean, I found it somewhat interesting, and yeah, I know there's a direct tie between them and King's Landing, and they basically want revenge for what happened to Rhaegar's wife. Yes, that was Rhaegar's wife, and I don't remember her name. Sorry. And it was her little baby whose head was dashed against the wall by Gregor Clegane. Yep. And I'm glad he's dead too. I mean, would have been more fitting if he had died, in battle, and just somebody. I mean, I was really hoping that Bronn would take him on for some reason. And I listened to the audiobook of Storm of Swords, and there was that one moment where it looked, Sir Gregor was going to be Cersei's champion in Tyrion's trial, and I thought, oh great, Bronn's going to be Tyrion's champion, and he's going to go up against Gregor, he's going to kill Gregor, yeah. But no, it turned out to be the Red Serpent, and yeah, those who have read Storm of Swords know how that happened. Hope you have, otherwise you probably shouldn't be watching this. But anyway, yeah. So, but Gregor died because of that battle, and but they still want revenge on the Lannisters, the people of Dorne, which I can understand. But apparently it looks like they also believe in this prophecy about Daenerys being being the one to be their savior, because they're sending people over to go get her and bring her to Westeros, which is kind of silly because she has a huge army now at her back, and she's got 3 dragons, and she can pretty much come when she feels like it. So, nobody needs to bring her over. She's going to come over when she's ready. Yep, it all goes back to Daenerys, doesn't it? And the last point I'd like to go on is Brienne. I really do hope that she is dead. Yep, they strung her up and hung her, and I really hope she's dead. I'm tired of her. I mean, have you noticed? I mean, she's pretty much, she fails at every task that she's given. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, protect Renly, nope, sorry, he's dead. Serve Lady Catelyn, nope, she's dead. Died at the Red Wedding. Brienne wasn't even there to try and help her. And bring Jaime to King's Landing. Well, that didn't work out so well, did it? I mean, yeah, he ended up there, but it really wasn't because of anything she did. I mean, it's pretty much he had to help her get there by the end of it. And then she goes out to find Sansa, and nope, failed at that. In fact, killed by Sansa's own mother, pretty much. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know she's supposed to be this, yeah, girl power, yeah, girls can do everything just as well as bad, she's a knight and she can kill too. Like, yeah, but she gets killed more than... she gets killed, and the things that she tries to do keep fucking up. So, yeah, I really do hope she's dead. Sorry to Brienne fans out there, but I really do hope that she's dead. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Feast for Crows. Any other comments you might have, any thoughts you have, put them down below. And my contact information, as always, is going to be in the abyss. As always, please comment, rate, subscribe. You know the drill. And until next time, this is I.S. Sanderson saying, everybody, make your lives grand and have a good day. Thank you. And remember, kids, Brienne's useless.